Jordan Peterson, How to Integrate Your Shadow for a Better Life. Jordan Peterson often discusses the concept of integrating the shadow, which is rooted in Carl Jung's psychological theories. The shadow refers to the unconscious parts of our personality that we tend to repress or deny, often because they are seen as socially unacceptable, aggressive, or contrary to our self-image. Self-awareness and personal growth. In the context of shadow integration, self-awareness and personal growth are central to the process of integrating your shadow. This involves becoming conscious of the unconscious parts of yourself, specifically those aspects of your personality that you usually repress or deny. These could include traits, desires, or emotions that you consider negative or undesirable, such as anger, jealousy, selfishness, or fear. By integrating these shadow elements into your conscious awareness, you unlock your potential for more authentic and holistic personal development. Here's how self-awareness and personal growth tie into shadow integration. 1. Expanding your awareness. When you integrate your shadow, you expand your self-awareness beyond the idealized image you project to yourself and others. You start to recognize the hidden drives, fears, and motivations that influence your behavior. For instance, if you often feel anger or frustration in certain situations but suppress these feelings, integration allows you to explore the reasons behind those emotions rather than pretending they don't exist. Confronting what's repressed. Many people avoid facing their shadow because it's uncomfortable. However, personal growth requires looking at these difficult parts of yourself. By doing so, you can transform your blind spots into areas of insight and development. 2. Owning your flaws and weaknesses. Self-awareness involves acknowledging that you are not perfect, and that's okay. Accepting your flaws, imperfections, and weaknesses is part of the growth process. By doing this, you take ownership of your behavior and are less likely to blame others for your problems. This makes you more responsible and less prone to self-deception. Breaking the ego's illusions. The ego often constructs an image of perfection that doesn't align with reality. Shadow integration breaks through this illusion, helping you accept your full humanity, which is a key aspect of personal growth. 3. Dealing with emotional triggers. Integrating your shadow allows you to understand why certain situations or people trigger strong emotional reactions in you. These triggers are often signs that unresolved shadow aspects are at play. Once you recognize the root of these reactions, you can work through them consciously instead of being controlled by them. Gaining emotional maturity. With greater self-awareness comes emotional growth. You become more aware of how your emotions influence your decisions, which helps you respond to situations with more balance and control. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can choose your responses deliberately. 4. Authenticity and wholeness. When you integrate your shadow, you stop pretending to be someone you're not. By acknowledging all parts of yourself, both light and dark, you become more authentic in how you present yourself to the world. This authenticity is a significant part of personal growth because it enables you to live more genuinely without the constant need to hide or suppress parts of yourself. Moving toward wholeness. The goal of shadow integration is wholeness. When you accept both your positive and negative traits, you no longer feel fragmented or divided within yourself. You feel more complete, which allows for more stable personal growth. 5. More resilient self-image. A self-aware individual has a resilient self-image because it is grounded in reality, not in idealized notions of perfection. By confronting your shadow, you build a more accurate and honest self-image. This leads to stronger self-confidence because you aren't constantly trying to hide from uncomfortable truths about yourself. Facing insecurities. Instead of avoiding your insecurities, shadow integration helps you face them head-on. This process strengthens your resilience because you learn to accept your vulnerabilities and work through them, rather than letting them control you. 6. Improved decision-making. Self-awareness through shadow integration improves decision-making. When you're aware of unconscious biases or negative emotions influencing your choices, you can make more conscious, well-thought-out decisions. For example, someone who has integrated their shadow might recognize when they're making choices based on fear or insecurity and take steps to act from a place of wisdom instead. Avoiding self-sabotage. Unintegrated shadow aspects often lead to self-sabotaging behavior because unconscious desires or fears control your actions. Integrating your shadow helps you make more deliberate and healthy decisions that align with your long-term goals. 7. Greater empathy and compassion. As you develop self-awareness and integrate your shadow, you become more empathetic and compassionate toward others. By recognizing your own flaws and darker tendencies, you become less judgmental of others' imperfections. You realize that everyone has a shadow, which makes you more understanding and patient with people around you. Less projection. Shadow integration reduces the tendency to project your issues onto others. By owning your own dark traits, you're less likely to blame or criticize others for qualities that you also possess. This leads to healthier, more authentic relationships. Conclusion. Self-awareness and personal growth are deeply intertwined in the process of shadow integration. By acknowledging and accepting the parts of yourself that you usually hide or deny, you expand your consciousness, build emotional maturity, and develop a more resilient and authentic self-image. This integration leads to healthier decision-making, deeper empathy, and a more holistic sense of personal wholeness, allowing you to grow into a more complete and capable individual. Moral responsibility. In the context of shadow integration, moral responsibility plays a crucial role in integrating your shadow, as it requires you to confront and take accountability for the darker, potentially destructive aspects of your personality. Jordan Peterson frequently emphasizes this in his discussions of Carl Jung's concept of the shadow. By recognizing your capacity for harm, selfishness, and aggression, you become more conscious of the moral implications of your behavior. This awareness empowers you to act more ethically and responsibly in life. Here's how moral responsibility connects with shadow integration. 1. Acknowledging your capacity for evil. One of the most important aspects of shadow integration is acknowledging that every human has the capacity for negative, harmful, or even evil behavior. We often avoid thinking about this side of ourselves because it conflicts with our ideal self-image. However, Peterson argues that facing this uncomfortable truth is crucial for moral growth. By recognizing your own potential for harm, you take responsibility for controlling it. Avoiding self-righteousness. Many people act morally superior, thinking they are incapable of doing wrong. Integrating the shadow humbles you, as you understand that you, too, are capable of negative behavior. This awareness helps prevent the kind of self-righteousness that can lead to harsh judgment or hypocrisy. 2. Taking responsibility for your actions. When you integrate your shadow, you accept that you are responsible for your actions, including the unconscious behaviors that stem from repressed emotions or desires. Instead of blaming external factors or other people for your mistakes or failures, you take full accountability for your choices and actions. Avoiding blame shifting. People who haven't integrated their shadow often project their flaws onto others, blaming them for problems they unconsciously create. By accepting responsibility for your own behavior, you stop externalizing blame and instead focus on improving yourself. 3. Recognizing your power to harm. Peterson emphasizes that being harmless is not virtuous. Rather, it's about having the capacity for harm but choosing to act responsibly. Integrating your shadow makes you more aware of your power to cause harm, whether through aggression, manipulation, or selfishness, but also strengthens your ability to control that power and use it wisely. Constructive aggression. When you understand your aggressive tendencies, you can channel them in a way that is assertive and constructive, rather than destructive. For example, instead of lashing out in anger, you might use that energy to protect your boundaries or stand up for someone in need. 4. Balancing self-interest with ethical behavior. Integrating the shadow doesn't mean denying your self-interest or ambitions. Instead, it means learning to balance these personal desires with ethical considerations. Understanding that you have selfish impulses allows you to choose when and how to pursue them in ways that do not harm others. Aligning actions with values. Shadow integration helps you consciously align your actions with your moral values. You may still want to achieve success, gain power, or pursue personal goals, but you do so in a way that respects others' rights and well-being, ensuring that your self-interest does not lead to unethical behavior. 5. Preventing unconscious harm. Much of the harm people cause comes from unconscious behaviors, actions driven by repressed emotions, fears, or desires that they aren't fully aware of. Shadow integration brings these hidden aspects of your personality into consciousness, allowing you to control them and prevent unintentional harm to yourself and others. Avoiding destructive patterns. By integrating your shadow, you become more aware of destructive patterns in your behavior, such as passive aggression, manipulation, or avoidance of conflict. Once these patterns are recognized, you can consciously choose more constructive, honest ways of interacting with others. 6. Developing empathy and compassion. Understanding your own flaws and darker tendencies makes you more empathetic and compassionate toward others. When you acknowledge that you are capable of making mistakes, you're less likely to judge others harshly for theirs. This moral humility fosters a more compassionate approach to relationships and conflict resolution. Forgiveness and understanding. Moral responsibility includes understanding that just as you struggle with your shadow, others do as well. This leads to a more forgiving and understanding attitude toward others' imperfections, making it easier to build healthy, authentic relationships. 7. Avoiding moral hypocrisy. Without shadow integration, it's easy to fall into moral hypocrisy, holding others to ethical standards that you yourself do not follow. By integrating the shadow, you become more honest about your own shortcomings, reducing the likelihood of hypocritical judgments. Owning your darker impulses. When you accept that you have the potential for unethical behavior, you become more vigilant in ensuring your actions align with your values. This self-awareness helps you avoid preaching morals that you do not practice, as you have a clearer understanding of your own fallibility. 8. Channeling darkness productively. Peterson suggests that the integration of your shadow can actually make you stronger as you learn to channel its energy productively. The aggression, ambition, or selfishness you might once have repressed can be harnessed for positive purposes, such as standing up for what you believe in, defending others, or achieving meaningful goals. The key is to direct these darker elements consciously, with an understanding of their potential for harm and the moral responsibility that comes with them. Turning aggression into assertiveness. Rather than suppressing aggression, shadow integration teaches you to transform it into assertiveness. This allows you to assert your needs and boundaries in a way that is respectful to others, avoiding both passivity and aggression. 9. Building integrity. Taking responsibility for your shadow fosters personal integrity. Integrity means acting consistently with your moral principles, even when it's difficult. By integrating your shadow, you are less likely to be swayed by unconscious impulses or hidden motivations, making it easier to act with moral clarity and consistency. Living authentically. Moral responsibility also includes being honest with yourself and others about who you are, including your flaws and imperfections. This authenticity leads to a more integrated and fulfilling life, where your actions reflect your true self, rather than a facade of perfection. Conclusion. Moral responsibility and shadow integration is about acknowledging your full capacity for both good and evil, taking ownership of your actions, and consciously choosing to act in ways that align with your ethical values. By understanding your darker impulses and controlling them, you not only prevent harm but also channel your energy toward constructive, positive action. This process leads to a deeper sense of moral integrity, empathy, and personal strength, allowing you to navigate life with greater wisdom and responsibility. Power and competence. In the context of shadow integration, power and competence are key outcomes of integrating your shadow, as this process enhances your ability to handle life's challenges with greater strength, self-control, and effectiveness. Jordan Peterson emphasizes that true power does not come from being harmless, but from being capable of wielding power and choosing to act ethically and responsibly. Shadow integration allows you to access and harness the darker, more assertive parts of your personality, transforming them into tools for personal growth and competence. Here's how integrating your shadow leads to greater power and competence. 1. Recognizing your capacity for power. Shadow integration involves acknowledging your potential for aggression, ambition, and assertiveness, all of which are essential for personal power. Many people repress these traits because they associate them with being bad or dangerous. However, Peterson argues that the ability to be powerful, physically, mentally, and emotionally, is essential for navigating a complex world. Becoming dangerous, but disciplined. Peterson often discusses the idea that it's better to be a dangerous person who chooses not to act harmfully, rather than a person who is harmless out of fear or repression. Integrating your shadow helps you tap into your capacity for power, while also giving you the discipline to control it. 2. Channeling aggression productively. Aggression is a natural part of being human, but if it's not acknowledged, it can manifest in unhealthy ways, such as passive-aggressive behavior or resentment. Integrating your shadow allows you to channel aggressive energy in a productive, assertive manner, giving you the power to stand up for yourself, take on challenges, and defend what matters to you. Assertiveness and leadership. By owning your capacity for aggression, you become more assertive in situations that require it. This makes you more competent in handling conflict, leading teams, or pursuing your goals with determination. 3. Building competence through self-mastery. Power without competence can lead to destructive outcomes. By integrating your shadow, you develop self-mastery, which means not only recognizing your darker impulses but learning how to control and direct them. This mastery leads to greater competence because you're not being driven by unconscious fears or desires. Controlled power. When you master your darker tendencies, such as anger or selfishness, you become more effective in using them appropriately. For example, anger can motivate you to correct injustice or improve your situation, but only if it's controlled and directed constructively. 4. Embracing responsibility. With power comes responsibility. Shadow integration makes you more aware of the consequences of your actions, especially those driven by unconscious impulses. By owning your shadow, you take responsibility for your decisions and behaviors, which increases your competence in handling the complexities of life. Taking charge of your life. People who have integrated their shadow are less likely to feel like victims of circumstance. They recognize their ability to influence their environment and take responsibility for their actions, leading to more effective decision-making and greater personal power. 5. Tapping into hidden potential. The shadow often contains qualities and talents that have been repressed because they don't fit into the image of who we think we should be. By integrating the shadow, you tap into this hidden potential. For example, someone who represses their ambition might unlock their drive for success once they acknowledge and integrate this part of themselves. Unleashing ambition and drive. Shadow integration allows you to embrace your ambitions without guilt or shame. When you no longer suppress your desires for success or power, you can pursue them more effectively and ethically. 6. Confidence in conflict. People who have integrated their shadow are more capable of handling conflict with confidence and competence. Instead of avoiding difficult situations or acting out in destructive ways, they can confront challenges head-on. This ability to manage conflict effectively is a form of personal power, as it allows you to navigate relationships and challenges with greater skill. Courage and conflict resolution. By integrating your shadow, you become less afraid of confrontation. You can assert your needs, set boundaries, and resolve conflicts in a way that is both powerful and respectful, without being controlled by fear or passive aggression. 7. Moral competence. Balancing power with ethics. True power is not about domination or control, but about balancing your capacity for power with moral responsibility. Shadow integration helps you achieve this balance because you recognize the potential for harm within yourself and learn to act ethically despite it. This moral competence is crucial for becoming a leader or person of influence who wields power wisely. Ethical power. With greater self-awareness of your darker impulses, you can ensure that your use of power is aligned with your values and moral principles. This makes you more competent in positions of leadership or influence, where ethical considerations are essential. 8. Resilience and adaptability. Integrating the shadow makes you more resilient because you are no longer afraid of your own darkness. This psychological resilience gives you the power to face difficulties and challenges with greater adaptability. Since you've already confronted uncomfortable truths about yourself, you are less likely to be thrown off course by external difficulties. Handling adversity. By integrating your shadow, you develop inner strength, which helps you face adversity without falling into despair or self-sabotage. This resilience enhances your overall competence in life, as you can recover from setbacks more quickly and with greater determination. 9. Developing authentic confidence. Confidence born from shadow integration is authentic because it's rooted in a deep understanding of both your strengths and weaknesses. This type of confidence is more stable and enduring than the superficial confidence that comes from denying or repressing your flaws. True self-esteem. Authentic confidence comes from knowing that you can handle the full spectrum of your personality, both the positive and the negative. This self-assurance makes you more competent in navigating social, professional, and personal situations because it's grounded in reality, not in an idealized self-image. 10. Commanding respect. Power and competence naturally lead to respect from others. People who have integrated their shadow tend to command respect because they are grounded, self-assured, and capable of handling difficult situations with strength and grace. They are not easily intimidated or manipulated, as they have faced and mastered their own darker impulses. Earning respect through competence. By becoming competent in managing your inner world, you project an aura of authority and integrity that others respond to positively. This is particularly important in leadership roles, where respect is earned through a combination of power, competence, and ethical behavior. Conclusion. Integrating your shadow unlocks both personal power and competence. By acknowledging and embracing the darker parts of your personality, you gain the ability to control and channel them productively. This process leads to greater self-mastery, resilience, and the ability to navigate life's challenges with confidence and strength. True power comes from understanding your capacity for harm, controlling it, and using your energy in constructive ways that align with your moral values. This balance of power and competence is essential for personal growth, leadership, and success in all areas of life. Dealing with conflict. In the context of shadow integration, conflict is an inevitable part of human relationships, and how you handle it can significantly impact your personal and professional life. Integrating your shadow helps you approach conflict with greater awareness, emotional maturity, and effectiveness. By recognizing and embracing the darker aspects of your personality, you can navigate disagreements and tensions more constructively, leading to healthier resolutions and stronger relationships. Here's how shadow integration contributes to effective conflict resolution. 1. Understanding your triggers. Integrating your shadow allows you to become more aware of what triggers your emotional responses in conflict situations. When you understand your triggers, whether they stem from past experiences, insecurities, or unresolved feelings, you can manage your reactions better and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Recognizing emotional responses. By identifying what situations evoke strong emotions in you, you can prepare yourself to handle these moments more effectively, preventing escalation and improving communication. 2. Taking responsibility for your role. Shadow integration encourages you to take responsibility for your part in any conflict. Instead of placing blame solely on others, you learn to examine your actions, thoughts, and feelings that contribute to the situation. This sense of accountability is crucial for resolving conflicts maturely. Avoiding victim mentality. Acknowledging your role in a conflict helps you avoid a victim mentality. This shift empowers you to take proactive steps toward resolution rather than feeling powerless. 3. Channeling emotions constructively. Rather than suppressing or projecting negative emotions during conflict, integrating your shadow enables you to channel these feelings productively. For example, instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, you can express your emotions in a way that facilitates understanding and dialogue. Transforming anger into assertiveness. By recognizing anger as a natural emotion, you can express it assertively and respectfully, leading to clearer communication about your needs and boundaries. 4. Building empathy and understanding. Integrating your shadow fosters empathy as you become more aware of your own flaws and struggles. This self-awareness allows you to be more understanding and compassionate toward others, even during conflicts. When you recognize that everyone has a shadow, you're less likely to judge harshly or react defensively. Seeing the bigger picture, understanding that others may be grappling with their own shadows helps you approach conflicts with more patience and understanding, facilitating a more constructive dialogue. 5. Improving communication skills. Effective communication is key to resolving conflicts. Integrating your shadow helps you express your thoughts and feelings more clearly and honestly. You become more adept at discussing sensitive topics without resorting to blame or defensiveness. Practicing active listening. Shadow integration enhances your ability to listen actively and empathetically, allowing you to understand the other person's perspective more fully and respond appropriately. 6. Setting healthy boundaries. When you recognize your shadow aspects, you can set healthier boundaries in relationships. Clear boundaries are essential for preventing conflicts from escalating and for ensuring that both parties feel respected and valued. Defining your limits. By integrating your shadow, you become more confident in defining your limits and communicating them assertively. This prevents resentment from building up and helps avoid future conflicts. 7. Embracing constructive disagreement. Conflict doesn't always have to lead to negativity. Shadow integration allows you to see disagreement as a natural part of human relationships. By embracing constructive disagreement, you can use conflict as an opportunity for growth and understanding. Cultivating a growth mindset. Viewing conflict as a chance to learn about yourself and others promotes a growth mindset, where both parties can evolve and strengthen their relationship through honest communication. 8. Reducing fear of confrontation. Fear of confrontation often arises from not wanting to face difficult emotions or the potential for conflict. Integrating your shadow equips you with the courage to confront issues head-on, knowing that you can handle your emotions and communicate effectively. Facing difficult conversations. When you're less afraid of conflict, you're more likely to engage in difficult conversations that need to happen. This proactive approach can prevent misunderstandings and build stronger relationships. 9. Creating collaborative solutions. Shadow integration encourages a collaborative approach to conflict resolution. Rather than viewing conflict as a win-lose scenario, you can work together to find solutions that satisfy both parties' needs and interests. Fostering a team mindset. By focusing on collaboration rather than competition, you can create an environment where both parties feel heard and valued, leading to more sustainable resolutions. 10. Practicing forgiveness and letting go. Finally, integrating your shadow allows you to practice forgiveness, both toward yourself and others. Understanding that everyone has flaws helps you let go of grudges and approach conflicts with a more open heart. Healing relationships. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. This can lead to healthier, more resilient relationships moving forward. Conclusion. Dealing with conflict effectively is a crucial skill that can be significantly enhanced through shadow integration. By becoming more self-aware, taking responsibility for your actions, and embracing the emotional complexity of conflict, you can navigate disagreements with greater skill and maturity. This approach fosters healthier relationships, promotes personal growth, and transforms conflict into an opportunity for understanding and collaboration. Ultimately, integrating your shadow allows you to approach conflict with confidence and competence, leading to more constructive resolutions and stronger connections with others. Integrating your shadow involves consciously acknowledging and accepting the darker, repressed parts of your personality in a healthy and constructive way. This process, popularized by Carl Jung and frequently discussed by Jordan Peterson, requires self-reflection, honesty, and a willingness to confront the aspects of yourself that you may find uncomfortable or even shameful. Here are the key steps to integrating your shadow. 1. Acknowledge and identify your shadow. The first step is to become aware of the aspects of your personality that you have been suppressing. These might include traits, behaviors, or emotions you consider negative, such as anger, selfishness, jealousy, or even the capacity for cruelty or aggression. The shadow often contains qualities we deny because they don't align with our ideal self-image or societal expectations. Ways to identify your shadow. Observe emotional reactions. Pay attention to strong emotional reactions, especially those that seem disproportionate to the situation. These reactions often provide clues to shadow aspects. Look at what you dislike in others. The traits you criticize or dislike in others may reflect your own unacknowledged qualities. This is called projection, when you unconsciously attribute your own shadow elements to someone else. Journaling or writing. Writing can help you access subconscious thoughts and emotions. Try freewriting or journaling about situations where you felt uncomfortable, angry, or ashamed. This can bring hidden parts of your personality to the surface. 2. Accept your darker impulses without judgment. Once you have identified aspects of your shadow, the next step is to accept them without self-criticism or judgment. Denying or demonizing these traits only strengthens their hold on you. Accepting that you are capable of negative behavior or emotions doesn't mean you act on them. It means acknowledging that they exist within you. Embrace your full humanity, Everyone has a shadow. Realize that being human means having both light and dark aspects. Avoid moralizing or feeling guilty about having aggressive or selfish impulses. They are natural parts of being human. 3. Self-reflection and integration. After identifying and accepting your shadow traits, it's crucial to integrate them into your conscious personality. This doesn't mean giving in to negative impulses, but learning how to understand and channel them in healthy ways. For instance, your aggression can be transformed into assertiveness or your selfishness into self-respect. Techniques for integration. Meditation and mindfulness. Practice observing your thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. Mindfulness helps you become aware of shadow impulses as they arise, allowing you to manage them consciously rather than act out of repression or denial. Active imagination. This is a technique Jung suggested, where you engage with your unconscious by imagining a dialogue with the aspects of your shadow. For example, imagine having a conversation with your anger, asking it what it wants or why it arises. This helps you understand and integrate it rather than suppress it. Creative expression. Art, music, writing, or other forms of creative expression can be a way to give form to your shadow without directly acting on harmful impulses. Creativity allows you to explore your darker emotions and impulses in a safe and productive way. 4. Embrace personal responsibility. Jordan Peterson often emphasizes that integrating your shadow makes you stronger and more responsible. By acknowledging your potential for destructive behavior, you take responsibility for managing it. This means setting boundaries and developing self-discipline. Channel aggression constructively. Instead of letting aggressive or selfish tendencies control you, channel them toward productive ends. For example, the assertiveness that comes from acknowledging your aggression can help you stand up for yourself or achieve goals, but without resorting to cruelty. Set clear boundaries. Learning to say no or stand up for yourself without feeling guilty is an essential part of integrating the shadow. It enables you to balance compassion with assertiveness. 5. Confront conflict directly. One of the benefits of integrating your shadow is the ability to handle conflict more maturely. Instead of avoiding confrontation or letting resentment build up, you can approach conflict with honesty and strength. Recognize projection. When you feel a strong negative reaction towards someone, pause and ask whether you're projecting some aspect of your own shadow onto them. This awareness can diffuse unnecessary conflicts. Own your reactions. By taking responsibility for your feelings and reactions, you become more capable of resolving conflicts in a constructive manner. 6. Shadow work in relationships. Relationships can be mirrors for our shadow. Difficulties with others often reflect unresolved aspects of ourselves. Integrating the shadow can lead to healthier, more authentic relationships. Communicate openly. Be honest with yourself and others about your flaws, needs, and boundaries. Hiding your shadow can lead to manipulation or passive-aggressive behavior in relationships, whereas integrating it allows for more open, direct communication. See others clearly. Understanding your shadow makes it easier to see others' flaws without harsh judgment. This leads to more compassionate and empathetic relationships. 7. Ongoing process. Integrating your shadow is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As you grow and encounter new life experiences, new shadow elements may arise, requiring continued self-reflection and integration. Regular self-reflection. Make shadow work a part of your personal development routine. Regular reflection helps ensure you remain aware of your unconscious tendencies and prevent them from overtaking your behavior. Conclusion. Integrating your shadow is about embracing the whole of who you are, including the darker parts of yourself that you may try to hide. This leads to greater self-awareness, moral responsibility, and psychological resilience. By accepting and channeling your shadow's energy constructively, you become more balanced, competent, and capable of facing life's challenges. In Peterson's view, integrating the shadow is about becoming a whole, responsible individual. It means facing uncomfortable truths about yourself and learning how to direct the darker elements of your psyche in a constructive, rather than destructive, way.